Club Radio. Club Radio.
Check it out.
Drop it.
Can't stop, won't stop. Where the brakes at? I give him that diddy bop. Like take that, take that, take that, take that. I'ma put in work. I'ma do that ASAP. Throw my faith in rap. But they say don't say that, huh? What I'ma turn down for? I feel like Shaq in 9-4. Breaking glass in that backboard. I like Kobe and Toronto, huh? Dropping 81. Yo, I dropped the 88. Ricky Bobby, shake and bake. Sleeping on it, should've stayed awake, huh? Everybody make mistakes like VJs. Tryna say my name, it's Minio. Say it with me, Minio. Okay, great, 2 forks high, raise the stakes. Risk it all, I take the hate. This the winning team, get the Gatorade. My guy good, but he's not safe, nah. They try to shut us down and it ain't gon' slide. Only thing I fear is God and he on my side. That's the confidence I got, cause he got me. That's why I really feel like you can't stop me. Ooh, that's all you got. Come on with it. That's all you got. You can't stop me.
Hi, you are tuned in to Club Light Radio, and this is the inspiration station for the nation, looking forward to reaching every generation. I am super excited today. It is Friday here in sunny Arizona, as you know, where we definitely do not lack sunshine and heat. I am super excited, because this is actually the time when I myself can kind of go swimming. I don't do cold weather. I don't do cold water. I don't do cold anything. You understand? So I actually look forward to it being like 110 degrees out there. I really, really do. Because then it's about 90 or so is what I'm looking forward to be in the pool. And that's just kind of my thing, Well, anywho, this is Aqueela Maddox, also known as the Inspirationalist, definitely desiring to aspire growth in every aspect of your life. Now, today, my heart is definitely filled with like so many passions and things that are going on out there. And I must say, and of course, the Inspirationalist got her own story too. And I'm in a place of transition, like tons of it all around me. There's a lot of great things going on, a lot of areas where I'm super nervous, business as well. I can't complain, but I definitely know there are things that I wish to see grow a little faster. There's some areas of discomfort that I'm definitely experiencing right now. But I wanted to, to really speak to that, speak to the uncomfortable place. I wanted to talk to that place right there, if that's okay. So I've actually had an opportunity to watch this TED Talk. And if you're familiar with TED Talks, they definitely has tons of speakers that are inspirational, that would share basically how you can continue to progress in life, because life has just got so much going on. And of course, as much as I must say that I trust and lean towards the Bible, being able to apply that to my life, it's oftentimes where we're like, okay, hold on, what story can this relate to in the scriptures? And what we find is that we connect more with the scripture because it's interpreted. So we hear it comes through a pastor, a preacher, or inspirational, motivational speaker. And so anyway, I want to speak a little bit to that right now. So he was talking about being unbalanced on purpose, and how life itself is, full of these unbalanced scenarios. You've got your job, you've got your family, you've got your spiritual growth, you've got your hobbies, you've got your health. And these are the 5 areas that he segmented. And he said, and oftentimes we want to keep them segmented. Like that's the way we think we find balance. We want to keep our family over here. We want to make sure we know that Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, that's work, or 11 to 7, if that's what you do, or Tuesday to Sunday, whatever it is, whatever your work look like, that's your work. And then you've got your family. You want to make sure you get your family time in, or your relationships, your friendships, your network. And then you've got your hobbies, the things that you have a passion and an excitement for, right? And then you've got your health, because you got to make sure that you get your exercise in, you're eating right, and all that other stuff. You've got all these different things. But how does that work in life? Because I hear oftentimes here being an entrepreneur, man, the grind is real. Like I'm working sometimes, where I look up and I'm like, gosh, it's 11 p.m. and I'm still on the computer. And then in addition to that, as I'm grinding, I'm on the computer. And then in addition to that, I have kids. And then, and other opportunities to network and connect and build. And so anyhow, I'm like, how do you find the time to manage and juggle all these things? But what he said in this TED Talk was, if you look at when you're thinking about juggling a ball, 5 balls, and one of those balls represent each of those different areas I just spoke to, your family, your spirit, your relationships, your health and things like that. And so anyway, you're looking at how you begin to juggle them. And he said, if you look at the flow of all of the balls that you're juggling, it tends to make a shape of the infinity sign, which means that they're never ending. They're a constant, right? But if you start to see the placement of those balls, you'll see that maybe at some point in the cycle, the relationship ball is at the top left. And then if you begin to see that, your job begins to be on the right, kind of towards the bottom. And then the spirituality may fall somewhere beneath the family. And then health is kind of right above the hobbies and all of these different things. Just begin to circle. And then next minute, as it circulates, next minute, family is down left bottom. And then health is at the top right. And everything just begins to shift at all the times. Nothing will always stay at the top. But they all commingle. They all seem to move around together. And instead of us segmenting them and keeping them apart, begin to see how they flow together infinitely. They just keep on moving around. And so he was saying that's what our life looks like, unbalanced, on purpose, full of transition, a constant moving piece. So instead of trying to separate your family from your work, or like me separating my family from my business, bring them in. So interestingly, I really believe what he was saying, because I began to do that. Even before I heard this TED Talk, I would bring my 6-year-old to my speaking events. I would incorporate some way to allow my daughter to be able to help me with my business. And she started to tell me she loves doing, Mom, I love your Belief LLC. Mom, I want to be just like you. Instead of her becoming so, instead of her beginning to dread what I do, she wanted to be a part of it. And I wanted to make sure that I invited her there. And so that's one of the things that I wanted to encourage people to do today. And whether you're grinding out there, working in corporate America, or you're producing and establishing an empire by building your own business, begin to recognize that balance is really like mythical. In order for you to be successful in life and progress, you just have to find ways to keep all of these components working simultaneously together. While one thing is in the air, your hands are touching these 2 things here at the bottom. And then when you begin to juggle those things, those 2 things that once were in your hands, they're now in the air, and now you're getting your grip on something else. And that's okay. You think about it as if you were on a unicycle, or even balancing a regular bicycle. In order for you to actually make progress, you're going to have to be uncomfortable. You're going to have to press through the discomfort and quit focusing just on balancing. Because balance says I can juggle and maneuver where I'm at, what I'm on right now in this space, and I'm not going anywhere. Because in order for you to actually really understand the technique and how to actually go ride on a bike ride with your friends, you're going to have to move your feet along with practicing juggling that balance. You're going to have to now focus ahead and not on balance as you're gripping on to the handlebars. And then you're going to have to move your feet at the same time that you're holding on with your hands, at the same time as you're paying attention to what's ahead, and at the same time trying to make sure that you don't fall off. Balance is more than just the notion of just staying in one spot, segmenting all these different components. It's actually having to bring in all of these different pieces, and realistically, all you're doing is living unbalanced on purpose with intention. So be intentional about the way that you bring in these different components. And even with all of that, what I had to realize is, because with all this transition that I'm going through, I don't want nobody to see me fall. I don't want nobody to see me fail. I don't want nobody to talk about me. I don't want anybody to judge me, you know? Were you ready to get on that bike yet? Were you tall enough? Were your legs long enough to extend and reach the pedal bars? I don't want to make a fool of myself. I don't want to become the laughing stock. And as grown as I am, ladies and gentlemen, and I trust and believe I'm an adult. But nobody wants to be, you know what I'm saying, the story that's passing around on Facebook or Instagram and Twitter as, you know, look at that person. The inspirationalist, ladies and gentlemen, went out there and tried to make a business out of speaking to people, and she fell flat on her face. I knew she should have kept her job. Look at the inspirationalists out there, you guys. The woman who, because you have to understand, my story has always been church girl. Grew up in church, knowing the principles of what it was like, you know, in the scriptures. And then as well, hearing people constantly embed that into my brain about what God expects and what they expect. And I was always placed on this pedestal. And so when I fail each and every time, because remember, my story is I'm divorced twice with 2 kids, 1 from each marriage. It's not a story I signed up for, but it's mine. And what do you do with that? When you believe in all that you've done, like, listen, I still believe God loves me. I still believe he trusts me. And I believe that he is giving me wisdom and giving me, you know, instruction on how to live this life. But it did not turn out the way that I imagined that it would. And now not only other people are distrusting whether or not you're capable of making decisions, but you begin to distrust yourself. Should I make a decision anymore? What should I say? Can I trust my own decisions? Like, I think I'm hearing this thing leading me, something on the inside is propelling me and compelling me to go and pursue this business, but should I do it? Because you remember, Aqueela, the last time you thought you heard from God, you end up divorced. And I began to question myself, and I began to be insecure and began to wonder whether or not people would see value in my voice. And so I shied away from giving advice. I shied away from telling myself what to do. And I began to entrust everybody else with my decisions. And I would say, hey, if you don't approve of it, then I won't do it, because I want you to accept me and accept my story. I didn't want to look like a fool to you, because you think so great of me that I'm so busy trying to protect and nurture my name in the presence of you that I forgot what it looked like to be me in the presence of me. And so now I learned today that I've spent so much time trying to preserve my name, preserve who you think that I am, that ultimately I'm not really giving you a fair shot of really knowing me. I'm not giving you the chance to reject or accept who the me that I know me to be really is. Hi, my name is Aqueela, and I do love Jesus. I do live out loud. I am proud of who I am and who I've become. I'm proud of my story. But guess what? I'm not perfect. And although we all say that, and it seems like a common cliche right now, I'm perfect and God knows my heart. But here's the reality. I'm a single mom. And I remember being married the first time, 18 years old, that I didn't want to have a baby daddy. But guess what? I got 2. I have 2 ex-husbands who fathered children that I now have, and essentially, because I'm no longer married, I have 2 fathers to children of my own, in which I no longer have a romantic relationship with. I looked like what the soap operas or the talk shows was talking about when they were saying, she got baby daddies and she don't know this and who is she? I look like that right now, y'all. But because of the fact that I can speak in a way that makes people listen, I've now become more comfortable with my failures. I look like somebody people might want to be. But the reality is, I just look just like you. A person who's trying to figure it out, still choosing to have Christ as the head of my life, never denying my belief in Christ, never, ever, ever, ever straying away from what I believe I know truth to be, which is Jesus and Jesus alone. Never denying the fact that he is the judge of my life, the author and finisher of my faith, and he has an expectation for me to be loved 100% of the time. I don't deny that. I don't deny the fact that I want to live my best life and I want to be happy too. I want to be in love and I want to be married and I want to live successfully and I want people to be proud of me and I want people to take my pictures and my inspiration and it become viral. And that's what I want people to know about me. Meanwhile, other things that I didn't want to be viral went viral too. But guess what? We still talking about Jesus to this day. Whether or not he was who he said he was, and if he was more than, if he was merely a prophet or simply someone like Santa Claus that we're still living and passing down his story over and over again to our children, just meaning that he was just simply somebody who came here to do good like a superhero, but he's really a fictitious character. We're still talking about whether or not Jesus came to live and die for my life and my sins. If he was really the Redeemer, and if he was so much of a Redeemer, why are people still passing judgment? And if he was so much of a Redeemer, why do I feel condemned and not just convicted? Why am I ashamed of my yesterday? You said that we overcome by the word of our testimony and the blood of the Lamb. But it don't seem like none of that is covering the shame. Because shame is what's driving people to kill themselves, isolate themselves. Shame is what keep me in a place that I don't even want to be, just so I don't have you talking about me. What does it look like to live out loud and fail out loud? What does that look like? What does it look like to be comfortable in being uncomfortable? For me to share my transitions with you and not worry about what you think of me? What does it look like to not worry about how many likes and shares I get on my story? Because whether you like it or share it or not, the truth be told is, as long as I'm living out loud and people have eyes and ears, it's being shared anyway. What does that look like? What do we do with that? What do we do with that? And it's really something that I want to challenge us to be aware of today. Being aware of who you are and where you are. I'm in a bunch of transition right now. I love my business, but right now business is slow. I love inspiring people, but sometimes because of the relationships that I have established with people, they begin to question whether or not I'm qualified to tell you what I'm telling you. And then yet I meet a person that's completely unaware of my story and they are so astounded by every word that comes out of my mouth. Do we stop being who we are? Do we make an apology for who we are? I say no. Continue to be you. Unapologetically. Knowing that God said that I know the plans that I have for you. For a hope and a future to prosper you. And what's so crazy is I remember recently getting a revelation as I was thinking of Moses and thinking of Job and Joseph. And how I was talking to so many clients during that week, and so many people were telling me about how they were praying and asking God to direct their path. And they're like, man, well, Lord, I need to hear from you. What is it that you want me to do? Where is it that you want me to go? I need to know. And so as I recalled Moses and as I recalled Joshua, and as I recalled Joseph, and as I recalled, even Jesus, like, I'm looking at their story and I'm like, okay, so Lord, where do you want me to go? And he tells Moses, listen, I know you murdered somebody, but I'm going to take you out of that and I'm going to spend some time with you and I'm going to build you up. I'm going to speak to you and let you know who you are to me and who I am to you. And that means that everything you not, I am. For every lack in your life, there's no lack in me. So know that, right? So you don't feel like you're competent. You don't feel like you can speak eloquently enough to go and deliver the children from the Pharaoh. No worries. You got me. And then I looked at Joseph, who was like, listen, I recognize that when people come and speak to me, I can see visions. I recognize that no matter what it is that you tell me, I can interpret your dream. I can help you get there. And I know what'll even happen next. In fact, God has even given me an insight on my own life and lets me know that you will be able to look up to me. And people didn't understand that because they couldn't visualize it and they couldn't see it. And they was mad and they was like, listen, right now, and they family, they like, listen, we about to sell this one right here. Better yet, let's murder him. And somebody was like, wait a minute. I don't want his blood on my hands. Let's just send him into slavery. So they sold him into slavery. And then you look at Job and he's minding his business, working diligently. And all of a sudden, Satan comes up and says, let me tell you something. These people out here, they don't really love you. They don't serve you. But yet you got me and the angels over here trying to do everything. You got us required to do everything that you created us to do. And they get a choice. And he was like, no matter what, the Lord said to Satan, no matter what, he was like, they're going to choose me. I know they are. And have you considered Job? And he was like, Job, yeah, he said, you can do whatever you want to him, but you can't kill him. But I know that he will not deny me. He's going to still serve me. And so I'm looking at all these three stories. And then you got Jesus. And Jesus says, listen, the Lord is like, I'm about done with this creation. I'm giving them choices and I want the best for them. And it's like a parent. I've seen my children struggle, guys. I've seen my kids out there making decisions where they're going to end up hurt. And I told my daughter several times, stay off them darn monkey bars. And she comes home telling me how bad her hands hurt and they're blistering up. And then they begin to callous. And I'm telling her, hey, listen, stay off the monkey bars, because that's what I want you to do to avoid being hurt. And so God is looking at us as a loving father saying, I'm giving you instruction to prevent you from being hurt, prevent you from relationships from being strained, and to prevent you from feeling like a failure, becoming insecure, and all of this stuff, and questioning whether or not I love you, because everything that go wrong in your life, you blame on me. Even when you're making your own decisions. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, I'm still giving you choice. And so anyway, he says, as a loving father, it's difficult for me to see them struggle like this. So I think we just need to call this quits. And he says, and Jesus says, well, listen, I'll go. Because you are very passionate about your creation. Your desire to destroy us is not out of a place of not wanting us, but out of a place of not wanting to see us constantly hurting ourselves. Let me be the cover for them, Father. Let me go out there right now. And I know I'll have to suffer. I'll even have to disguise myself, put on my superhero cape and be human real quick. But I'll do it for them. Because you're my daddy and I know how much you love them, because I know how much you love me, and I'll do it. And so I listen to all of these stories and I recognize right now that there's a connection, and it even has a connection to mine, that every time the Lord had designated these individuals specifically to go out in their path, and they're like, Lord, whatever you have me to do, I'll do it. Guess what, you guys? It always looked like failure. Because I saw Moses go intentionally into a place where after God built him up, he was rejected 12 times. What is your story? You mean to tell me that God is building me up to send me to be rejected? Yep. And at each time it looked like rejection, and at each time it looks like a failure, because never in that instance did it have an outcome that we thought would happen, which is he would say yes. So then I look at Joseph and he says, listen, I'm going to make you the head. In fact, you're going to be so up there that there'll be a position that got to be created for you, because nothing out there that's already existing like CEO, that's not going to be it. It's going to be personal. It's going to be intentionally set up for you. And so with that, I want you to know that everything you go through, I'm always with you though. So he gets sold into slavery. hated on by his family, lied on by a woman because she trying to seduce him because he was fine according to the scriptures. And next minute you know, he didn't even respond to her. He tried to break away from her like, no, I can't even get down like that. And next minute you know, he's in prison. But through it all, it didn't have the outcome that he imagined. But the Lord was faithful to have him be where he said he would be, which was at the top. So I want you to know today that just like those guys in the Bible, just like Jesus sent to be hurt and beat and suffer for you, just because it didn't turn out the way you thought it did not mean it wasn't a part of the plan, and it did not mean you failed. Because God says, listen, I'm not worried about the way, because the way, the truth, and the life is Jesus. I know that I'm making a way for you to get to where I have for you to be. That's the focus. Don't be caught up in the road. Focus more on the destination. Don't worry about what it looks like, who's going with you, who denies you like Peter did 3 times, but yet still was like, Lord, I love you. Don't worry about that. Don't let shame take you out of where you're supposed to be, because even Jesus went over to Peter and said, listen, I know you messed up, but I still created you and called you to build my church, to disciple people, to be a very replica of who I am. That's why I spend time with you. And no matter your failures, you're still qualified. This is Aqueela, the inspirationalist. And I hope I inspired you today. For more inspiration, you can always check me out at www.beliefllc.com. Thank you so much for tuning in to Club Light Radio. Have a great day.